Algebra 2 Honors Lesson 3.3 Systems of Inequalities. Alright, how to solve systems of inequalities. Here are the objectives. Alright, so the first thing, alright, so we have a system of inequalities here. So we need to graph both of these lines on the same graph. So if we have x minus 2y is less than 6, we need to graph this. In order to do this, we need to get y by itself. So if you get y by itself, you would minus x on both sides. We would get negative 2y is less than negative x plus 6. Divide by negative 2 and everything, because we need y by itself. So then you'll get y is less than, alright, no, you have to flip the arrow, because you're divided by a negative. So y is greater than, alright, pretend there's a 1 in front of the x, so that'll be positive 1 over 2x minus 3. So we're going to graph this equation right here, okay? So everyone remembers how to graph a line. Start at negative 3 on the y-intercept. We're going to go up 1 over 2 because that's our slope. Alright, what type of line would it be? It's going to be a dotted line. Okay, so dotted. And then we will shade above the line. Alright, so we're going to shade above the line because it's greater than. So if we shade above the line, so I'm going to shade above the line. Because it's greater than. Now, we're going to graph the second problem on the same graph. So the second problem, right here, well, we had y is less than or equal to negative 3 over 2x plus 5. Right? Well, y is already by itself. It's positive. There's no work to do. Let's just graph it. So we're going to start at positive 5. Positive 5 on the y-axis. Slope is negative 3 over 2. So that means we move down 3. 1, 2, 3 over 2. All right. We have a solid line here, an equal to line. So that means the line will be solid. So let's make our line. That's not solid. Change that again. Solid line. And we are going to shade. If it's less than, we're going to shade below the line or down. So I'll use a different color. Let's say blue. So here's a line. We're going to shade below the line. All right. So I'm going to shade below the line. Now, wherever it is shaded twice, that is your answer. So this triangular region right here is where it will be shaded twice. Right? So that is your answer. So you would shade this part the darkest to show that this is the solution. Okay. So this part right here is where it's shaded twice. So you would just color that in the darkest. If you're doing this at home, I would use highlighters or colored pencils to show two different colors. So and then just shade in the wherever shaded twice the darkest. Alright, same situation here. We need to graph the system. Now, if we're going to graph y is less than 4, that means we are going to be at positive 4 on the y-axis. Alright, there's no line here, so you know our line is going to be dotted. So, we're going to have a dotted line going across right here. That is horizontal. Now, if y is less than 4, that means we are going to shade below the line. So I'm going to shade below the line right here. Alright. Now let's graph the second one. Now let's take a look at our second equation. Now our second equation, y is already by itself, so we're good. So we have y is greater than or equal to the absolute value of x minus 3. Now, if you remember from chapter 2, if it's absolute value, that means your graph should look like a V or an upside down V. There's no negative here, so it should look like a V. And then you have to decide, can you use the shortcut or do you have to make the XY chart? Well, if this is positive 1 in front of the X, you could use the shortcut. So let's find our vertex. Vertex would be the opposite of negative 3, which would be 3 for x. There's no number here, so y is 0. So we're at 3 and 0. Our a value is positive 1. So that means move over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1, to the left 1, up 1, to the left 1, up 1. Alright, we have a solid line here, so our line will be solid when we graph it. So we should have a solid line. And then if it's greater than or equal to, well, we're going to shade above. So I'll shade this in blue. So we're going to shade above, alright, the V. So where is it shaded twice? This triangle part right here. So you would shade that the darkest. Alright, just shade this part the darkest to show that you know that that is the answer. And that's it.